starting with the creation of the Association for the Relief of Widows and Orphans in New Orleans in 1855. The goal of the Jewish Children's Regional Service has always been to serve, protect, and nurture Jewish youth by providing or funding services such as physical care or education. For its first 90 years, service was provided through two different large orphanages or homes. In 1855, and for some 30 years afterward, care was directed not only to the motherless and fatherless children of the South, but also to widows, as demonstrated by the listing of both widows and orphans in the name of the association. In the latter part of the 20th century, single-parent families have been created more through the process of divorce than through early death of a parent. In increasing numbers, the JCRS is asked to assist Jewish youth who are not only being reared by a single mother, but also by grandparents, single fathers, adoptive parents, and foster parents. A large number of these single-parent and reconstituted families have volunteered to share their unique challenges and experiences, and the roles that JCRS has played in their lives.
All right, my children were almost 4 and 6 when I became a single parent. And it was a very difficult time for all of us. It was hard on myself, and it was very hard on the children. And, you know, as I look back, I feel like those days had to be very, very hard on children, not knowing and not understanding. And part of me really feels bad for that today. You know, I still kind of think back to that sometimes and wish that they hadn't had to go through all of that. But anyway, what I did was I was a school teacher, so I immediately began teaching. And what I did was I tried to have the children in either the school with me or schools near to me, so that, for instance, if, like, when one of them finished early, they could come over to my school. So I had arrangements made so that they could come to me, and I would also be allowed to attend certain functions for them. You know, it was hard, but we managed to work things out.
And because I'm single parent, I'm working 2 jobs just to provide everything. And my son, he's grown up, he is in college right now. I'm really proud about that, but life is tough. It's so hard to live by yourself and, you know, count only on yourself. So most of my 12 years, about 9 probably, I'm working 2 jobs. Well, let's give me opportunity. I bought some house, American dream. I own my house, and well, I put my son in college. I have help from Jewish Regional Service.
I just wanted to say that in our family you have converts, you have a single mother, you have a multitude of races, a multitude of ages, and really kind of a weird conglomeration of people. And I think we perhaps represent the Jewish family of the future. We were in Athens, Greece, and we were going to visit the synagogue. And as we came up the street, we were stopped by these kind of rough-looking men, and they were Israeli guards for the synagogue. And they said, "Are you Jewish?" And we said, "Yes." And they said, "Can you speak Hebrew?" And we sort of looked around confused. And Gerald spoke up and did the Shema. And they said, "Okay, go ahead, go on in."
Most single parents are not able to go beyond provision of basic needs and some extras to attain those things that all Jewish families aspire to. You know, college is really beyond the reach. Many single parents can pay part of the cost, but not all of it. Jewish summer camps, those are something that many single parents cannot afford to pay all of. And so these things may go by the wayside if it were not for agencies such as Jewish Children's Regional Service. They provide scholarships and loans for these types of programs.
So at an early age, I was charged with taking over and making things happen and making things work. There came a point where my mom suffered a breakdown, my brothers and I were split up, and through intervention of Jewish Children's Home Service, we were each farmed out to different relatives, and the hope was that our relatives could help us. I went to live with a great aunt and uncle, and for various reasons it did not work out. I had for 1 year lived in a foster home, but because of the tumultuous emotional impact that I had to go through, it didn't work out. These people had difficulty dealing with all the myriad of problems that I had and the insecurities that I suffered from. Eventually, I was placed in a professional foster home in Houston, Texas. It was felt that it would be in my best interest to get away and to go live with a family that was skilled in dealing with people with young kids who were as troubled as I was. They played a very significant role in my life.
Mama, which is what I refer to my grandmother, is the one who helped my brother and me survive, basically, with alcoholic parents and parents that had substance abuse as well. We needed that role model. We needed the stability. We needed complete care, and she provided that for us. We always had a Jewish home, but it became more Jewish, I think, when we went to live with Mama. Went to temple regularly and things like that. But I think Mama was the one who helped us survive and gave us the continuation of our life, really.
How old were you and your brother when you went to move into full time?
6th grade, so I was probably about 11. And yeah, 11. I was 11. Jason was 9. We were actually up in this area because my mom had remarried my stepdad, and we moved up here and had been in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex for about 4 years, and then really things fell apart at home, and Jason and I called Mama from a payphone at a 7-Eleven. I, of course, remember very vividly, and then that was it.
And while Jewish communities rally in many ways to help these families, and synagogues do likewise, very often it's Jewish Children's Regional Service that provides the stamp of approval for others to come forward and to help. The Jewish Children's Regional Service, in a very careful, anonymous way, makes sure that this is a legitimate request. And once Jewish Children's Regional Service gives their stamp of approval, then other agencies are quick to follow and help as well. And this has been of immeasurable help to us here in Oklahoma City, and we use Jewish Children's Regional Service as kind of our certifying organization for a great deal of help that benefits so many children and so many families.
I came to live here when I was 4 years old. My father's Israeli, and I moved back from Israel when I was 3. I was in a foster home for a while before my grandmother got custody of me when I was 4. My little sister was also with me. She was a baby, and we both came at the same time. We all sort of came at different times, so yeah, I guess that does make us kind of interesting. We have lots of different last names in one household, which probably confuses the mailman a little bit. But I don't know, as far as JCRS, the Jewish Children's Regional Service, I mean, there's no words to express how much they've helped our family. I mean, when it's really expensive to have Hanukkah presents and all of our Jewish friends are getting, you know, all these great presents every night, and they always make sure that we have something, or you know, when we need to go to school or we want a Jewish experience, a trip or camp, or no matter what it is. I got to study in Israel for a year, and they definitely helped with that. They've helped it make it possible for me to go to a private Jewish school in California, which is like a dream, you know. I mean, I'm the first one really to even get to go out of state for school, you know, which is amazing.
I just want to also thank the Jewish Children's Regional Service. I mean, what an opportunity for my kids, being a single mom, for my kids to be able to go and do things that I never thought was imaginable that they were going to be able to do, and I just want to thank them for everything.
Not too long ago, in preparation for the speeches that my sister and I made at the annual meeting, I had the opportunity to review the records that were kept by the Weisses at the Jewish Regional Service, and I was just amazed at just what did go on, the amount of work and dedication and effort that I, as a kid, never knew about, but had such an impact on me, my family, my sister particularly, as well as myself, that, you know, in very subtle as well as profound ways, had an impact on how I turned out. But it is an incredibly important investment to make, because how else do you break the intergenerational problems? Kids who have been neglected or abused, people who grow up, kids who grow up in difficult circumstances, how is it that they're going to learn about love, respect, devotion, the things that we value most in life? The only way people learn is by example. Books provide information, but they don't provide wisdom, they don't provide insight. It's the way others behave towards our kids that make a difference. And the investments of time and energy, of money that we make as a community for our kids, particularly the kids that come from disadvantaged homes, helps to give them a model on which they can build their own lives.
Your love.